From the outside, the story of Gary Payton II looks almost mythical, stamped with the weight of legacy before he ever breathed life into a dream of his own. He was born into a name the basketball world already worshipped, a name etched into highlight reels, defensive folklore, and the unforgettable swagger of a Hall of Famer. For many young athletes, carrying that surname alone would have been a burden too heavy to lift. But for Gary Payton II, it became something else entirely. Not a shadow, not a blueprint he was forced to follow, but a challenge he embraced with a quiet fury and an unwavering spirit. His story is not about writing a legacy. It is about rewriting one. From the earliest moments of his childhood, basketball wasn't just a game to him. It was the language his family spoke. But unlike outsiders might assume, he was never pushed, rushed, or coerced into becoming a carbon copy of his father. He was allowed to grow into the sport organically, with curiosity first, then passion, and eventually obsession. His father, Gary Payton, the Glove, was notoriously competitive, relentless, and loud in his confidence. But his approach with his son was simple. If you love the game, work at it. If you don't, find what lights your soul. There was no decree, no expectation, no throne waiting. Just opportunity, just guidance, just love. But for Gary too, the competitive fire came naturally. Even as a child, he hated losing more than he loved winning. He would shadow his father's movements, challenge him to one-on-one games he had no hope of winning, and then go right back to practicing the same moves that had just beaten him. And though the world saw him as the son of a legend, inside the Payton household, he was simply a kid trying to earn his stripes. Yet his journey wasn't one built on immediate stardom. In fact, it was just the opposite. He fought through academic challenges that nearly derailed his early career altogether, facing learning hurdles that many athletes might have considered impossible to overcome. But he refused to let any obstacle, whether physical, mental, emotional, or institutional, define the limits of his future. His path took him through junior college, grinding each day to prove he belonged, not because he wanted attention or validation, but because he believed deeply in the work. He sharpened every facet of his game with a seriousness that few truly recognized at the time. What separated Gary too, even then, was something invisible to box scores and scouting reports: hunger. Not the hunger to live up to his father's name, but the hunger to carve out his own. He wanted to be known for his own story, his own brand of intensity, his own impact on the game. And slowly, step by step, he began to build the foundation for one of the most unlikely and inspiring careers in modern NBA history. His defensive brilliance was the first thing people began to notice. It echoed his father in philosophy, but the execution was distinctly his own. Where the Glove smothered players with footwork and talk, Gary too pressed them with explosion, instincts, and meticulous timing. His athleticism felt almost supernatural. Those impossible blocks at the rim, those sudden bursts of verticality, those chasedowns that appeared from out of thin air. He became the kind of defender who didn't just guard players. He disrupted offensive ecosystems. Still, the path to the NBA was anything but straightforward. He went undrafted. He bounced through G League rosters. He signed 10-day contracts. He played in systems where he barely touched the court. He was waived more times than most players would emotionally survive. And yet, each time he was released, each time he was overlooked, each time he felt that sting of rejection, he responded the same way: by working, by getting better, by outlasting the doubt. This resilience, this refusal to be discouraged into quitting, became the foundation of his identity. Because Gary too didn't want to be handed anything. He wanted to earn everything. His breakthrough moment came with unmistakable clarity when the Golden State Warriors embraced what the rest of the league failed to see: a player whose defensive versatility could change games and whose energy could shift momentum within a single possession. With Golden State, Gary too found not only a role but a home, a place where his hustle was celebrated, his instincts trusted, and his intangibles understood. The Warriors saw him not as a fringe player, but as a difference maker, and he rewarded that belief in spectacular fashion. He became one of the most electrifying perimeter defenders in the league. His ability to guard positions 1 through 4 made him indispensable. His transition finishing became a weapon. His off-ball cutting became essential to Golden State's fluid offense. He played with a ruggedness that fit perfectly into a championship culture built on sacrifice, intelligence, and trust. Then came the crowning moment, the 2022 NBA championship. The journey from undrafted, waived, dismissed, underestimated, to NBA champion is something Hollywood would call too unbelievable to fictionalize. But Gary too lived it. And he lived it with humility and gratitude, acknowledging every bump in the road as part of the journey that shaped him. The joy on his father's face during that championship run wasn't about legacy. It wasn't about pride in a son following footsteps. It was something far more personal. A father witnessing the fulfillment of his son's dream, earned through nothing but perseverance, discipline, and heart. Gary too's impact goes beyond basketball. His foundation, work in the community, and advocacy for mental health and learning disability awareness have touched countless lives. His willingness to speak openly about his challenges, especially his dyslexia, has encouraged kids everywhere who feel misunderstood or underestimated. He turned what many saw as a limitation into a source of strength and leadership. And through all of this, he carries the Payton name not as a weight, but as a torch, one he holds proudly, one he shines in his own direction. His bond with his family has become one of the strongest roots of his resilience. Though his father's fame is global, their relationship is grounded in something beautifully simple: respect, encouragement, and love. Gary too credits his mother, father, and siblings for shaping his spirit, for keeping him grounded, for reminding him that greatness isn't defined by comparison, but by authenticity. On the court, Gary too is a highlight waiting to happen, but off the court, he is a testament to persistence, character, and purpose. He represents every athlete who has ever been counted out, every dreamer who has ever been told no more times than they can remember, every competitor who rises not because the path is easy, but because the passion is unstoppable. And what makes his story even more inspiring is that he's not finished, not even close. His journey continues to evolve. His game continues to expand. His influence continues to grow. He remains one of the most respected workers in the league, one of the fiercest defenders in the game, and one of the most uplifting voices in the basketball community. Gary Payton II is proof that destiny is not inherited, it is built. And no matter where his career goes next, his story will forever stand as one of the most remarkable examples of perseverance in modern sports. Thank you for joining this deep dive into the incredible journey of Gary Payton II. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to stay connected, support more content like this, and keep celebrating the athletes who inspire us with their heart, their resilience, and their dedication to the game.